Today, I want to talk about financial planning for your future, especially if you're a contractor, consultant, or coach. Now, essentially, when thinking about financial planning, it's really crucial to understand where you're trying to go. Okay, that's the whole point of it. If you're doing a plan, it's a step by step process that you take in order for you to achieve X aim. So, when thinking about the importance of financial planning, you need to think to yourself, this is an opportunity to ensure that your money is protected, is maintained, and it grows in some way, shape, or form. And of course, this depends heavily on your financial goals. And of course, the first thing you need to do is to set some goals, okay? Now, of course, you know what goals are. Goals are essentially things that you're aiming towards, and goals naturally have key objectives. And I kind of highlighted what those objectives may look like. Again, protecting your money, maintaining your money, okay, and also making sure that you grow your money. So they come in different sort of vehicles, ways, shapes, and forms. I said this in a previous video. Essentially, maybe one of your financial aims may be to make sure that you have enough money to pay for all of your expenses. Maybe some of you are a bit more ambitious where you want to make sure that your financial aim is to ensure that you have double or triple or quadruple or 10 times the amount in terms of income when it comes to covering your expenses. So let's say, for example, your expenses are £2,000 a month or whatever it may be, or £1,000 per month. If you want to make 10x that, okay, in terms of your income, then you're looking to make £10,000 a month as an example. But you need a sensible vehicle or vehicles in order for you to be able to do that very thing. And so this is where you have to start thinking a bit more strategically. How am I going to make my money? What does that look like? How am I going to spend my money? And what different instruments am I going to have in play in order to make sure that I'm doing some of these things, not just for now, but for the midterm and the long term. So of course, the first thing you need to make sure that you do is to analyze your bank account. You need to analyze it. And if you don't analyze it, you're going to be in a situation where actually it's going to be quite difficult for you to actually understand how to plan for the future. Because if you don't know what you've been doing in the past, you don't know what you should be doing in the future. Okay, because that's how you develop and set these different goals. So export your expenses. Maybe use something like Money Hub to export all of this stuff. Maybe you want to go directly to your actual bank account and go to export as a CSV and maybe convert it to an Excel and do all these fancy things. It's totally up to you how you want to do this. But essentially all you're doing is looking at what comes in, what comes out, and what you're left over with each month. Okay. You also want to be able to look at patterns and behaviors and all these different things there. Do you spend more inevitably during the Christmas season? Do you spend more during certain birthdays? Do you spend more because of holidays, etc., etc.? Think about all these different scenarios and situations and see if there is some leeway in terms of what you spend, how you spend, and how much of it you spend. Very important stuff, because once you pick up those patterns, even if you've gone back a couple of years, that will give you a good idea of what to do moving forward. You also want to be able to categorize and itemize different things. So for example, you may categorize things in terms of household, or maybe groceries, or something like business or transport, travel, etc., etc. There are all these different things that you could do to categorize this stuff. You want it to be as simple as possible, but as comprehensive as possible so you can get a clear picture, because what you can start doing is understanding behavior patterns, all these different things. Okay, so it's very important for you to understand that once you dive deep, then you can start moving forward. So once you've been able to assess your sort of like situation, you also want to understand, okay, what in this whole sort of like thing is allowing me to protect my money. So I'm looking at insurances, I'm looking at wills, I'm looking at all these different things that protects my money, not just my money, but my livelihood. Okay, the things that I do. And again, you can look at the last video to see all the list of different things that I talk about. You also want to be thinking about what are the vehicles used to help me maintain my money. So really that comes down to your attitude and approach, your mindset and your behavior. What am I doing to ensure that happens? Like, do I need to have an accountability coach? Do I need a financial planner or advisor? Do I need someone to help me along this journey? Or do I just need to fix up, okay, in terms of what I'm doing? Because you guys can do this. Sometimes it just takes self-awareness. The self-awareness comes from looking at your financial situation, looking at your money and understanding how you spent that so that you can start making conscious decisions when it comes to spending. You have to be intentional. And of course, the growing part comes down to income. The majority of you are going to be doing some sort of 9 to 5 role, whether that is contracting or whether that is a permanent job or whatever it may be. Even if you are a coach, a full-time coach or trainer, whatever it may be, there is an element of routine, should we say, so to speak. But is that the only way that you're making money? And if it is, that's perfectly fine. But does it cover everything for the now? And how does it cater for your future? Because there's no point saying, I want to make 100K or 200K, 500K, £1 million, £10 million, whatever it may be, if the thing that you're doing right now hasn't got you where you want to get to. Okay. Savings is great, don't get me wrong, and I'm a huge believer in savings. I think savings is a very important thing because cash is king and queen when it comes to dire times. We saw that with COVID, but in the same instance, that won't make you rich. That's for rainy days. That's for protection. That's for a sense of assurance and security. It's good for those things. That's good if you're out of a contract or whatever it may be, but it won't make you rich. Okay. And it's not just about being rich, it's about being comfortable in financial vehicles. So you feel wealthy, or you feel comfortable, you feel like things are covered, you feel like you can do the things that you want to do. So hopefully that gives you an idea. So once we sort of like move down that whole sort of like sphere of thinking, we need to think about budget. Okay. How much are you looking to spend each day, week, month, whatever it is? Okay. The calculations that you do or the analysis that you do in terms of your income and stuff is what will help you understand how to do that. Okay. So the budget, really important. What I used to do, I don't do this anymore. I'm not as conscious on my budget stuff, but when I started out in my journey, what I used to do is I used to give myself a weekly budget. Okay. I didn't have that much. I'm not going to lie to you. I think this was years ago. I think this was like 7, 8 years, no, 7, 6 years ago. I used to give myself, okay, only £40 a week. Then it raised up to like, I don't know, £60 a week. Then it raised to 80, then 100, then da 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 da. Okay. And that was for me to spend on things that I want to spend on. And it kind of feels like, oh, wow, this guy doesn't spend that much money. Oh, I didn't. But when I did, I really spent money. And I would spend my money heavily on tech, software stuff, and the one off sort of like holiday with the missus here and there. But it wasn't like prolific in that way. I was a big spender when it came to tech. So I would stack the money, stack the money, stack the money, then buy it on tech, and then that would be that. But you have to think what your little thing is, because sometimes there's impulse buys that you just make because it's that thing. Okay. I would pride myself in, being able to find really unique sort of like tech or software that are alternatives to things out there on the market, rather than just buying the commercial thing and do exactly the same thing. So I'd wait for those things, and I'd sort of like jump in the market there. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point being made is be able to set a budget that makes sense for you. Okay. And anything left over, you can just throw into savings. You can just throw it into savings. You don't have to spend that money. If you've got a debt, of course, you want to pay off that debt as quickly as possible. So you have to make a decision. Do you focus on savings? Do you focus on debt? Or do you do both? For me personally, the way I did it, okay, I focused on the debt first before I even focused on any of the savings. That's what I did. I focused on paying off the debt aggressively because we're thinking about financial goals. Maybe your financial goal is to pay for your debt, okay, as a contractor, whatever it may be. So, of course, if you're getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, £1,000 a day, whatever it may be, you can do that much quicker than you did before, okay? Some of you may not even know it, but you'll be able to pay off your student loan quicker if you have student loan, because essentially if you're paid on a weekly basis, and this could be inside or outside of IR35 for your contractor, of course, the student loans company is accounting things from a weekly basis as opposed to a monthly basis. So that's an opportunity for you to think about as well. So again, it comes down to the goals. That's why I said at the beginning, know exactly what your goals are. So following on from savings and all that kind of stuff there, you also want to be in a position where you're not knocking the whole sort of like retirement plan thing. We're planning for the future. So if you're a contractor and let's say, for example, you're working inside of IR35, is it attached to some sort of savings, not savings, retirement or pension fund? Okay. Do you have a pension fund that is being sort of like filled up as you get paid, as an example? If not, do you have a self-invested private pension? Do you have a SIP, with whomever it is that you want to get that out with? Let's say it's Scottish Widow or whatever it may be. I think I've said that right. But anyway, point being made is be clear, be abundantly clear about what your pensions sort of like situation is, and if you need to sort of like house everything together, you can do that yourself, or you can get someone to do that for you. Again, if you're confused about any of this stuff, and you don't want to go down the journey of doing it yourself and all this kind of jazz, then what I would say to you is make sure that you get a financial advisor to do this for you, okay? To help you sort of like sit down with you, somebody who's obviously accredited or qualified or whatever it may be. So the point being made is there is an opportunity for you to actually make this work really, really well, okay? And the final thing I really want to say is, think about sort of like ways for you to sort of like protect the whole sort of like a state of things. Okay, now this is sort of a level that I'm getting to, so to speak, but maybe you want to start thinking about trusts. Maybe you want to think about, are there ways to creatively make money in different ways? Okay, and this is where a financial planner and advisor comes into really good stead. You obviously want to get one that is of a good nature, okay, somebody who is doing something similar to you, okay, or who's walked that path, and then that gives you more confidence and impetus to go with that person. Anyway, hopefully this has been helpful. This has given you a bit of a breakdown in terms of how you should be thinking when it comes to your financial planning. If you're looking for somebody to partner with and really sit down with to really help you become that person, that leader who is exuding excellence in what they're doing, okay, maybe you've got some operational issues, maybe you're looking to accelerate in your career, maybe you're looking to become more profound as a leader, then make sure that you book in a consultation with me. We can have a conversation about that very topic. If you want to see more videos centered around life management and portfolio careers, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.